want the gold plaque. I want a platinum plaque. I want a diamond plaque. I just got yelled at silently for correcting Fiend from
That was not what I was trying to do. That was not what I was trying to do.
A very long explanation.
Very long.
A 1 hour intro.
Okay. Sorry about that rude interruption.
The technical difficulties. Where was I?
I think you were just getting into how good of a manga it is. Actually, we'll start off because you were like, it's a really good manga.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's really, you're not going to be like inundated with the profound, deep meaning of humanity. But if you're looking for something to like read where there's going to be action, there's going to be interesting characters. If you're like me and you're a bit of a nerd for magic systems, this has the main character here has like 3 different kinds of powers, and the way that he utilizes and integrates them is a massive component of the story, and I find that very interesting. It's really the different characters' relationships are really fun as well. The different dynamics. I'm trying to think about how much to say and how much to not say, because I don't know at what point people will be mad about spoilers.
That's fair. Let's do it this way. So we'll leave it at the current synopsis. Let's go through the other ones we have up, and we'll kind of do the same, like shortish. And if people want to hear more, or if at some point we decide we do want to, because honestly, I think as long as we kind of preface it correctly and let people know that, like, hey, you're about to get, like, we're going to get a deep dive in on this story. So if you really want to read it, then read it and stop listening, and we'll put up a timestamp or something. Yeah. But I think for this episode, for now, let's go through the other synopses.
The other thing I forgot to say, the other thing that's really nice about this one, at least at the time of recording, nothing super problematic has happened.
Okay.
And so you're like, okay,
I can still fucks with this. Fair enough.
And that is Swordmaster's youngest son.
There will be a screenshot up later. I'm not gonna fuck this up again this time. So let's run over to Nanomachine. So Nanomachine synopsis. I'm not even gonna try to say this name. An orphan of the ominous demonic clan has long been treated with contempt. His existence constantly threatened, but his life takes an unprecedented turn when he receives an unexpected visitor, a descendant from the future. This progeny bestows upon him a potent gift, nanomachines. Yeah, that's fucking potent, bro. Hey, here's a lot of technology. With the power of nanomachines, he finds himself empowered, ready to defy the constraints of the demonic cult. His journey towards becoming the supreme martial artist commences, fueled by his newfound capabilities. Bro, we call that cheating.
Yeah, I don't... At what point is it, I'm using martial arts, and at what point is it like, okay, I'm using future technology to
enhance my fucking body? Bro, we call that cheating.
Yeah.
So I really like this one because it's a variation on the like cultivation genre. I might be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure it's Korean. It's a Korean take on it, because this is traditionally, I think, more of a Chinese genre. Actually, I shouldn't comment on that. I don't have a fucking clue. But the I really like this one because the you know how you always have some motherfucker that wakes in these types of stories. You usually have some motherfucker that wakes up in some body and they have some magic system that like helps them like level up and do shit, and like
a skill tree,
or something like that. And then in the bad ones, or at least the lazier ones, which there are some lazy writing that I really enjoy reading, but at least in the lazier ones, they don't really ever address where it comes from, why it's there. It's just kind of there. They get that shit out of the way immediately because, you know, his project for the future comes in injects him with super sci-fi technology, and the introduction of that sci-fi technology into the Mirim genre, I think they do a really good job of actually integrating them pretty well. Because it's not like he has robots in his body, and like because he has robots in his body, he now punches really hard. It's like because he has the nanomachine in his body, he can download modern martial arts and practice with those. He can take the not that the modern martial arts are superior, but like he can
new techniques,
cross-reference. He can get visualizations of his opponents, right, and fight against them. It can do things like analyze sword path, sword pattern marks, and then reconstruct a martial technique from that, which allows him to do things that he wouldn't normally be able to do without it. It's very much like a support. It's something that comes in to support the martial arts and badassery that you would normally get from this genre that I really enjoy.
That's right.
Drawbacks here, there are some things, at least it was great for a while, and then in the last couple of issues there have been some stuff that's been like been gross.
Fair enough.
Which are also sort of like trappings of the genre, but I usually look for stuff that isn't beholden to that, you know.
That's fair.
But for the most part, you've been enjoying it.
Oh yeah, for the most part, up until chapter, like 110, it was great. Like it was freaking fabulous.
And then it just kind of takes.
And then you have to cure people of their diseases by penising, and that's not great. I'm not about that.
I would ask what, but I don't know if I want.
So curious.
You are? All right. Let's do a little sidebar here. So,
should we call this a spoiler, or?
Yeah, we'll call this a spoiler. If you
okay, well, I'll put up a timestamp for you guys to skip to.
So, in these types of genres, there's this concept of like spiritual energy.
Yeah.
Right. And typically, there's a type of or a method of transferring spiritual energy that's related to sex.
I've seen Magical Girl hentai.
Yeah. And so, like, oftentimes, maybe like losing your virginity results in the giving or receiving of spiritual energy, or they don't really rely on some of the grosser tropes, which are
give me your cummies on each eye.
Yeah, well, basically it would be like because of this chick's miraculous physique, every time you fuck her, you get more powerful. Or, like, the guy to take this chick's virginity will become the most powerful man in the world.
I'll be honest, I've never experienced this.
Yeah, it's some wild shit.
Okay.
It's some wild shit.
Interesting.
In this specific case, it turns out that the most effective method for transferring spiritual energy is by having sex. Of course, it's right after, your favorite ship for the whole season got together, and then they're like, oh no, here's this girl, and the only way we could save her is by having sex. Oh no, what are we going to do? I guess we'll just have to have sex. And to be very clear, they're not having sex. It is rape, because the woman's unconscious when it happens. So, yeah, it's not great.
And for you guys to understand, like those who might think this is prudishness, it's not as being prudes. We're very sex positive, and like we're very open about these guys like sex. There's just certain shit that it sounds like manhwa now does this too, but manga, manhwa, anime, in certain contexts in which their use of sex as a trope can be very
questionable,
unsavory,
questionable,
icky, problematic. Not great. And it sounds like that's what's going on here. So like when you hear him referring to this, it's not a prudish, oh, I just don't like sex in my story. It is the use of it. Like he said.
Oh, I love sex.
Oh, yeah. I love sex. Like, don't get us wrong. But when you're sexing a unconscious girl, that's no longer sex. That is crime.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah, trigger warning, by the way. I guess I'll also have to put that up there.
But and so it's the thing that really disappointed me about it is so many times in the when you come across like when I describe the things that the nanomachine was able to help him do earlier, typically this is shit that like main characters or very competent characters, like powers or abilities, they just kind of get. Right. And so this like super technology from the future is able to help somebody who's typically a normal person have access to these like higher level abilities and how they flourish because of it. I really, 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 really wanted them to come in and have nanomachine like beep boop and be like, oh, actually we're just gonna like do this and then you don't have to rape this girl.
We presented you with technology beyond your wildest dreams, and somehow you're still beholden
to this
some bullshit,
stupid fucking trope. Like, yeah.
Also, even if you're going to use sex, did it have to be rape?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, did it have to be really? Like,
it didn't. That's the answer.
And I'm sure there's a conversation somebody is going to try to make us have about like cultural differences and all that shit. No, that's icky. That's icky and gross. Even by certain cultural standards. But anywho,
but he was saving her life. Well, guess what? This is a story that somebody wrote,
and we're criticizing the person who wrote the story and wrote it this way to make that necessary.
There could have been a better decision somewhere,
right? Right, like. It makes you question a lot of things about creators. But you said this is like episode 110-ish.
Yeah.
So you enjoyed
really
it up to that
deep
point.
in.
Have you continued past that, or has that
I
been
have
like
continued to read it because I enjoyed it so much at the beginning, but it is now tainted forever.
Yeah, his investment level is like here, and it's like everything else about the story is so good that it's like. It's hard.
Well, once you cross a line, it's really hard. You can't uncross it.
Yeah. Well, a certain part of me is also kind of numb to this kind of bullshit because of how many stories I've read.
Right.
With the certain point, you're just like, it again. It's again.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's fair.
That's fair. All right. So that is Nanomachine. It's gonna be fun figuring out the timestamps on this one. Let us move on to. I mean, we've already said rape a number of times. I'm just gonna say the word
struggle snuggle.
Struggles. Fucking Christ.
That's not the one. That's not the one.
I don't think you were here. You might have been in your office.
At least when we were talking about
when we talked about it, you may or may not have been here.
I think I overheard it in my office, and I decided not to come out.
Yeah, fucking. I scroll through Facebook videos a lot. I'm a video scroller, so TikTok, Facebook videos, Snapchat. If I, like the few times I get on Instagram, I will scroll through videos and just kind of let those autoplay. And I had one of the AI voice generated ones, and it's like super low content type shit. It's literally let's take a Reddit story and just run it through an AI generated voice and change up some words here and there. And they fucking changed the word rape to struggle snuggle, and that was a first for me. That was that threw me off so fucking bad because. Man, maybe we shouldn't refer to sexual assault as something kind of cutesy wootsy.
Yeah.
Struggle snuggle sounds like
it's not the one.
It's not the one.
It's not it.
It's not the one.
I get the need to like censorship for the algorithm, but that's not.
That's not it. I am vocally against using the term grape in stance for sexual assault and rape. I get why people use it. There are certain instances in which using it doesn't bother me as much as others. Is if you're referring to an actual story that has gone on, like especially like recent, like fucking breaking news type shit of a woman who's been like assaulted or somebody's been assaulted or anything like that. Use a different word than fucking grape, bro. Like I get it. Once again, we get it. It's for the algorithm, but come the fuck on, like have some fucking class. Like you can say they were assaulted, they were sexually assaulted, they were Like, there's so many better ways to go about that than just running with grape, because that's
Get a fucking thesaurus.
Get a fucking thesaurus, right? Because, like, you took a word that was created for more comedic content. So let's take Casual Geographics. I can't say whether or not he was one who, like, came up with the word grape, like, as a stand-in, because it just rhymes
I think
correctly.
it probably goes back to that skit.
Is there?
That would be my assumption, is that it goes back to the skit, the commercial skit, the Grapist. Do you guys not?
I feel like I do.
It was for either like Raisin. I forget what it was. I think it was by the Whitest Kids You Know.
Sounds about right.
With the it was like a skit where they're doing a commercial promotion for kids.
Okay.
And I think it's for the grapes or wine, and they're like, our mascot's gonna be the Grapist. And then they do a little clip or something like that. It's been so long since I watched this, but he's like, kids, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna grape you in the mouth.
Oh my god.
And of course there's one guy who's like, there's no way we're using this. There's no way we're...
But the majority's like,
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with that.
There's nothing wrong with this. There's better words to use and be more mindful of, like, the context in which you're using it. With that being said, Triple S Class Suicide Hunter.
Yeah, I love this one. The suicide's great.
You want to read this one?
don't know if we want to lead with that.
You want to take the synopsis on this?
Yeah,
one?
I'll take the synopsis on this. This is Triple S Class Suicide Hunter. In the mysterious RPG dungeon-like tower, Confucius Kim lives a mundane existence, envying all the star hunters. One day, his wish for more is granted with a legendary skill to copy others' abilities at the cost of his life. Before he can make sense of it, he's killed by the number one hunter, the Flame Emperor. But this activates his skill, and now he's copied a new one. The ability to travel back in time upon death. How will Confucius use these skills to outplay the competition and rise to the top? Well, how will he?
Before you get into this,
Yeah.
that's real fucking convenient.
It is real fucking convenient.
That's really convenient that happened to be the ability you copied right before you got killed, or right as you got killed.
Yeah, well, I mean, if that wasn't what happened, we wouldn't have a story.
Fair enough.
But it's really interesting because you get the combo of the wombo combo of he can copy skills upon death, as well as the fact that he can then travel back in time. But it's limited. It's only 24 hours. It's consistent. It's predictable.
Okay.
It is busted as fuck because there's no limit on it. Spoiler-ish. The first thing he does when he gets the ability is he kills himself so many times he goes back to before the person who gave him the ability got the ability, and then kills that guy. So now we're talking like 15 years.
Yeah.
He kills himself.
Jesus.
Like it earns the title Suicide Hunter.
It's Triple S Class.
Triple S Class.
He's skilled in the suicide.
That man knows how to kill himself.
So, you might be thinking like, well, what's the point if like you if he just gets revived every single time, like Groundhog Day style. It's an interesting how they kind of construct the narrative tension where there's a best result you can get. Right?
Yeah.
There's a best way that things can go. And the challenge for him is to get things to go that way and not to die and lose all that progress again.
Fair. Okay.
Because, if things go poorly, you can set up things so that people are flourishing, you establish good relationships, then the stories that they tell inside of the tower in particular are really interesting and cool, and he has to take certain steps inside of the tower so that things don't get fuckered.
The vibe I'm getting from this explanation kind of reminds me of like RE0 a little bit.
Okay. Well,
kind of like where you like, you have a character, he's going through stuff, and then it's like, okay, he dies, but then he like restarts.
I was going to say, it's very funny you mentioned that because this is essentially a storytelling version of a roguelike. Basically, your basic roguelikes.
Mm-hmm. And typically when he dies or is killed, he can then pick
a power out of
whoever killed him. Whether I think he can still get them from monsters as well as from people, which results in some very interesting shenanigans depending on like what he gets and what he discovers. I think there's a sorry, I just paused because semi-spoiler. There's a really good moment. The moment that really sold me on this series was when there's another hunter that has the ability to see how many beings you've killed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And he typically uses this in order to like suss out people who should not be allowed, in society to do vigilantism essentially.
Yeah.
And he looks at our guy who's been killing himself for like however the fuck long he did, and sees a big old fucking number on top of his head and goes.
That counts for him too. Like he sees even if
like
you
him
kill
killing himself
yourself,
because every single time he kills himself, it's a discrete killing.
Oh, okay.
So all those times count. It's basically a glitch in the guy's ability.
Interesting.
So all those times count, and he looks.
And
he
all
looks
this dude sees is that you've killed a few million people.
He looks like a menace. Yeah, I'm sure.
And this guy is also somebody that he needs to be allied with. And so he has to try to figure out how the fuck to convince this guy to not kill him. And I think I haven't read the last few chapters. It's one of those ones where it's really good and they got to a point where things were like really, really tense. And I wanted to wait for that arc to finish before I went back in and finished it because I didn't want to be left with that narrative tension.
Fair.
And so I've been letting it marinate for a while. I think it's been about a year since I've come back to it.
Interesting.
But it's, from what I read last, it was still very good. It was very enjoyable to read. But yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
That one probably sounds the most interesting to me, just because it has that kind of video gamey element to it. I feel like I've been like, those are just fun in a way that I don't have to be super invested. So that sounds like it'd be a really fun one. Now this one also,
The greatest real estate developer.
yes.
I can read this one too.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Greatest estate developer. When civil engineering student Suho Kim, it's another Kim, falls asleep reading a fantasy novel, he wakes up as a character in the book. Suho is now in the body of Lloyd Frontera, a lazy noble who loves to drink and whose family is in a mountain of debt. Using his engineering knowledge, Suho designs inventions to avert the terrible future that lies in wait for him. With the help of a giant hamster, a knight, and the world's magic, can Suho dig his new family out of debt and build a better future? Huh?
Can he?
He can! Hey! No, this is one of the best comedy manhwas in existence right now.
It definitely sounds wacky.
It sounds fucking crazy. I love it.
Wacky, off the wall. The main character is one of those like selfish, but he's got a heart of gold. But he's ugly and evil to the point where the king of hell has tried to recruit him multiple times. Like the shenanigans that happen with like the crazy ways that he solves problems are really, really fun. The thing that convinced me to read this in particular was when I saw a snippet of it, because I was, for the longest time I was like, a state developer, gross. What convinced me to read this was a series where he starts to dig a mine. Right. He's digging a mine for, I forget what resource he needed, but digging a mine, and they bust into this like spider den. And there's this and so they attack these spiders, they're killing these spiders, and at the end of the spider you see this beautiful, gorgeous, sculpted male body of an orc just like wrapped in spider webs, and they save the orc and they make an alliance with the orc tribe, and all of these orcs are just like fucking ripped. And not only are they ripped, they're all like fucking like posing and like doing shit. And he fucking does some shit that gets them to like help him or like serve him. And then there's like there's a C plot with like a romance between one of the orcs and somebody in the town.
Oh god.
And it's so great. And it's just little shit like that takes this from something that would be like kind of funny and silly to one of the best. The illustration, the quality of the art is over the top.
Okay.
There's never an issue that I'm reading where I don't come away with either laughing or hyped about what's going on. They constantly up the stakes, but in a way that's not like too bad. There's nothing about it that's like weirdly freaking problematic where you're like, oh no, I don't want that one. Mm-hmm. It's funny, fun, really enjoyable to read. Super lighthearted. So if you're just like, if you want dopamine, if you're like, I currently need dopamine in my brain,
I'm in for that.
Go read The Greatest Real Estate Developer.
It's too much to load right now. I really want to see one of these. I'm gonna look this up as soon as we're done here, because I really want to just see what.
Was it not plugged in?
It fucking. Oh, you know what? You unplugged it.
I did.
That explains why there's so much going wrong.
All right. 1 second.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a ton of fun. Like, it reminds me of. Have you ever watched Amagi Brilliant Park?
I don't think I have, no.
It's a really good anime. It was like a very short, very fun, like 13 episode anime, where there is. Let's see if I can remember the plot correctly. There is a guy. He goes to school. He's like one of the smartest guys in the school, but he's super aloof. Like he's weirdly conceited and aloof at the same time. So like he doesn't talk to anybody, but he has all these inner monologues about how everybody just wants to talk to him so bad, how fucking hot and sexy he is, right? And eventually there's a student that also goes to his school, and I forget exactly how he winds up at this place, but there's this theme park called Amagi Park. And the theme park is essentially going under. Like, it is not performing super great. It used to be like this super great thing, and then like just over time, people weren't coming as much. He gets brought in because of his smarts and like his like he's like legitimately a smart guy, and he's really business minded, very business savvy. He gets brought in to help essentially save this theme park from having to get sold off, and getting steamrolled by another company's trying to buy it up. Eventually you learn that this place is actually magical. Like there's a princess, technically the owner of the park is this princess. Everybody that works in the park, all the characters there, they're all magical creatures. That have come from a different world. And he eventually learns this, and he kind of uses all of this and just literally just gets this place up and running again. By the end of it, he saves the park, doesn't get sold off to the land developer, and everybody kind of lives happily ever after. And it's very much that same type of like, this was just fun. This is just fun. It's not as icky, but there is still like a lot of like fan service moments. There's like a couple. Like there's kind of like the main female lead, who eventually kind of becomes like a love, like is kind of hinted at being a love interest. There's a lot of like just lingering shots of her sitting in a bathtub for literally no other reason but for her to just like have a thought at the start of the day. And is like, there was like one of these shots per episode. Like,
you know, manga really do be like that.
Like, yeah, manga and anime really do be like that.
Yeah.
But there was no like gross like,
I started reading Leviathan. Have you guys ever seen anything with Leviathan?
No, I don't think so.
Actually,
Really?
I think I did. I started reading that a while ago on a certain application, but it's been a while.
Leviathan's setting and it's like super dark and it's very gritty. Like it's similar to what's the one with the big pits?
Into the Abyss?
Into the Abyss.
Oh,
where it follows two kids in this world that these kids are not prepared to handle.
Yeah.
Like it starts with the death of their dad, like killing this like horrendous sea monster, and then being isolated and stranded. And the next thing that happens is some badass warrior comes to save them, but every other shot of this badass warrior is a girl. Okay. Is like of her like doing a kickflip like this,
and it's a panty shot.
And it's like basically panty shot tight like to the crotch where you're like, and it's very jarring.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's are you trying to get a better shot of my acrobatics?
Better shot of your acrobatics. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's like one of those like it's less gross and more like, okay, really? Are we doing this right now?
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, sometimes that fan service be getting me. I can't fucking hate on it all the time.
I am a fan.
I am a fan.
I'm being serviced.
There's a reason they continue to do these things. So,
but yeah. But okay, yeah, no. The greatest estate developer, is that what I said? Yep.
Yeah.
I gotta give this one a go because that sounds like a fun concept. Like it just sounds like they're having fun with it. Mm-hmm. All right, and we got one more here. Dungeon Odyssey. Odyssey. The descendants of mankind. Oh, sorry. Okay. The descendants of mankind, born in the labyrinth and raised on the milk of monsters, possess special strength and strong bodies. When they returned to Earth, mankind referred to them as dungeon babies. Jeez. Among them, Kim. Hey, another Kim. Kim Jin-woo, who was born in the deepest labyrinth.
Well, this time his family name's Kim.
This is his, yeah.
Okay.
It's different. I never tried to become strong. I just wanted to live. From the lowliest excavator to the king of the labyrinth. Excuse me. From the lowliest excavator to the king of the labyrinth, his life story is now unfolding. Interesting. So, what's the deal?
I picked this one to talk about in particular because this has two things that go for it really strongly. It is a very interesting setting, and it is very, very cool artwork. Mm-hmm. The style of this artwork is very chunky. It's reminiscent of
It looks kind of like The World Ends With You. Is that what I'm thinking of?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah,
kind of.
I can see it from the cover of that. Yeah.
Right. The World Ends With You is a video game, I believe, so I don't know if the artwork kind of holds true the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of similar to that.
It kind of gave me that vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very apt.
Okay.
But it's very blocky, very chunky, and like in particular, the stories you encounter a lot of very like grotesque and monstrous beings, and the way that they take that and they portray those creatures, those characters in that art style is so good. There are things I've read like 2-3 times just to like go back through and like look at the artwork again. I've seen the scene in particular. The end of the last season, they're fighting. I think they're fighting against a necromancer, and the shots in that battle are just so good.
Nice.
And then the setting is very interesting because it takes a lot of it takes like dungeon tropes and like some tower tropes and some system tropes, and it kind of like remixes them in a very interesting way, in order to like give like a fresh perspective on like one of these stories. So what happens is he, after going through incredibly traumatic experiences as a child, because he was basically, as a child, raised in a POW POW is actually a very generous term for how he was raised. It'll be a little bit more
concentration.
Concentration camp. Kind of like if the Auschwitz was a slave camp. Like, is kind of the vibes, right?
Okay.
Absolutely no disregard for the life of the people that he's with.
That's just the worst of both worlds, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, he's made to work constantly, like, watches his friends die around him all the time. And he's from one of the... it's not really a spoiler, but he's from a very deep level in the dungeon. Right? And so he's comparably very... deeper in the dungeon you are, the more powerful you typically are when you return.
Right.
Because of how they're raised. But so he's pretty badass. But it's also, so he's always felt very isolated above ground, even after like he was adopted and he had a family who like cared for him, but he never really felt like a part of that. And so it's a story of both like found family as he returns to the dungeon and becomes a master of a labyrinth. And starts to defend that, protect that, populate it with like monsters, creatures, as well as sort of like the story of his growth with like power and how things happen. And it's a great read. Really? It's a great read. Nice. I really enjoyed it.
I will say, I'm looking at the tags, and there's one of them that jumps out at me.
Harem?
Why is harem here?
Has that happened?
I guess technically there are.
Yeah.
So there are. Now that I think about it, yeah, actually, this is a little bit. But
fair enough. Right.
It's the fact that it's the least sexual harem I think I've ever seen.
Okay.
Like he has second in command, who is like a maid who's in charge of the dungeon. She's definitely obsessed with him.
Fair. Is it her?
The one in the cover.
In the cover.
Giving me Overlord vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a vampire. That's where the vampire takes there. That he comes over command of at some point. There's a wanderer / ranger that I guess is also a woman, but I don't know. He's one of the least sexual beings I've ever seen. So
he has a harem, but it's not about sex. It's literally just about having.
It's just literally there are multiple women in his party. It's probably the writer is just like, put another.
Yeah.
You know, one of the funniest fucking things to me is the accidental feminism in manga, because
when you say feminism, you're meaning like the movement, like feminist
shit that is written into manga and anime. Not because people are trying to write empowered or empowering female characters, but just because they're horny for bad bitches.
Yeah. When your horniness type is unironically powerful women.
Yeah. It makes me think of like the slime reincarnation series.
Yeah.
Where like
reincarnated as a slime
through the 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's quite a few.
There's a lot. It's very popular.
If you take Luminous, the 2 dragons, Milim, that's 4 women, all of whom are some of the most powerful beings in existence. Like, I'm talking like god-level beings. They're all just women, just because booze is horny for them.
Yeah. Fair enough. Shit.
Also, fun fact about that series.
The slime series?
Also, the slime series.
Okay.
Also accidentally feminist. Monsters can just choose not to get pregnant.
Which, I mean, do you know how fucking great of a world it would be?
It would be such a great world.
If you could just choose not to get pregnant.
Yeah.
Because then you'd really know who the idiots in the world are. Because there will no longer be like, you didn't get, like, this is not an accidental pregnancy. You're just stupid.
You're just dumb.
You are just dumb and don't understand what it means to raise a child.
I'm just thinking of the craziness of looking at a test and being like, nah. Just,
Right?
poof, like, nothing.
Just fucking Thanos.
Nah.
Nah. Oh, man.
Psych!
And then we didn't know that it also makes some of the wilder hentai about that stuff just like, you're like, it's just not realistic.
It's not realistic. No, you don't get a train ran on you and no pregnancy happens out of that. That's just not how that works. Unless you're in anime. God, how great it would be. I so wish that like impregnation was a much more like conscientious decision than like a natural biological function. There's a lot of biological functions that I wish were more conscientious. You know how much I fucking hate having to take a piss?
You mean
I
like...
hate the sensation of needing to pee.
Okay. I was like, wait. Actually peeing? Like
No.
Like, you don't feel relief?
Yeah, I do feel depends on how bad I have to pee. It very much depends. Like I just had a liter of water. I'm probably about to have another liter of it. I'm gonna wake up at like fucking 4 a.m. needing to go pee. I hate that feeling.
Fair.
I hate
That's
like
fair.
I hate the I hate the feeling. I more hate like the urgency that it creates. Because it's like I'm gonna fuck. It hits the point where my bladder's like, bro, this is gonna get released whether you want it to or not. And either you're gonna be standing in front of a toilet with your pants down or you're not. Like I fucking hate that shit. I hate how little control I have over. Once like there's how do I fucking say this? Like I wish I had a biological valve that I could flip open when it's time to pee. Like yeah, let me know that I need to go to the bathroom. Sure, give me that. Give me like the hey. Like, give me like the fucking hunger sensation. Like, hey, you need to go release your bladder like right now. But if you're like an hour away from a bathroom, that's okay. We're just letting you know you need to go.
Yeah, don't give me a timer.
Don't fucking put a timer on me. Like, don't fucking put the timer on because like once I feel and here's how fucking stupid my bladder is. It is very rare that I'll get like the tingle and then like no, okay. I should probably go to the bathroom, but I probably got like another like hour before I have to go. No, generally speaking, I am either I don't need to go or I need to go like right now. Like that is the kind of bladder that I have, and I fucking hate it because it'll be like, we'll stand up from this recording, and all of a sudden my whole bladder will go like, yeah, you've been sitting on like 3 gallons of water, bro. You need to go fucking. It's time. You have literally 5 seconds.
Where we dropping?
Where
I'm
we
about to drop right now.
I so fucking wish that was much more of a mechanical function. But anywho, that is all really interesting anime. I think SS Class, Suicide Hunter, and The Greatest Estate Developer are the two I would love to hear more about. I kind of want to read. Actually, yeah, I really want to read The Greatest Estate Developer. I don't know if I want to read Suicide Hunter or hear you do a synopsis. I'm not sure yet. If any of that has interested you guys, people watching, and you want to hear him do more of a deep dive on any of this, or you want to hear him hear him talk about more manhwa, manga, all the like that he's gone through, let us know down in the comments.
I read so many.
He reads a lot. He reads a lot.
He does.
He missed a plane doing that once.
Guess what I was reading?
Oh,
when I missed that plane.
How long
Tell
me it was The Greatest Estate.
It was The Greatest
Yes!
Developer. Dude, that shit was so good that it sucked me in so hard that I missed my flight. I missed my flight back from Virginia.
Yep.
That's
he
wild.
Was traveling, literally looked up, was like, oh, they started the boarding process.
They started the boarding process? I'll be a second.
And
That's
fucking
wild.
didn't fall asleep. Did you have earbuds in?
I don't think so.
Didn't even have earbuds in.
So they were probably announcing his flight and everything. His
They were
number.
literally boarding at the time.
Yeah.
And he was like, they haven't gotten to my section yet. Was it that?
Group 3.
I'm group 3. We have some time.
2
Probably
hours
called my
later.
name multiple times because that's what
They
do.
more than likely did. They were
They
like,
almost
"Hey,
certainly
is there a fluffy in terminal? Your plane is boarding.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, is there a fluffy flufferton in the terminal? We're about to shut the door." Just tunnel vision. Oh my god, I'm amazed they didn't like throw nothing at you. Like, who's
Or at
this?
least ask
I mean,
you.
they were dead. They were probably looking at me on my phone, like,
And they're
is
like,
there
"No,
a babada
we're calling this guy. If it was him, he would just look up, right?
He
Like
would
he
just
can't.
look up.
It can't be him.
Yeah, like they're probably looking. He doesn't have headphones in.
For those
he
people,
obviously
he can
hear
hear
us.
us.
People running those, it had to be one of those moments when you're like, there are truly idiots in the world. Because, like, they had to have been like calling and looking at like he must be here for the next flight. He must be here for some of the
Yeah,
flight.
they
It can't
de-
be his terminal because he has to hear us. And then I got up and I looked at
Where
the
is
thing,
everybody?
and then I walked up and I was like, "Is boarding done for the flight?" And they no doubt looked at my passport and were like,
Your
or my ticket. We're like, "This is the guy. This is the guy
is
who's
him."
fucking calling."
That flight left 2 hours ago, sir.
this dude. Oh my god, what he told us about this was the nuttiest thing I'd ever heard. That is some ADHD shit, right?
It's ADHD as fuck.
But that's how
I
you know.
hyperfixated the fuck out of that. I literally there was no inputs in my brain besides the greatest estate developer. It was all that.
That's how you know, though, that is a
very
good
fucking
story.
good.
So, I mean, hey, what is your credentials for reading these? These stories. Like how many have you read? Like what?
Oh,
Off the
I
top of
thought
your
you were
head.
like, "What's your login for this site right now?"
Well, if
Like-
you guys
like-
want good tips on sites, Kenmi.co is the place to track what you are reading across sites. It lets you read scanlations on the scanlation site that they're done, so you don't have to be like ripping people off for the work that they're doing. I'm bringing shit to you for free. Love it. But I think I would have to check on my phone, but I think there's probably like 500 plus
Like
at this point.
under your belt.
Under my belt. I've actively
Holy
follow 205 at the moment, but not all those update consistently.
Fair.
But yeah, it's probably getting close to 600 at this point. It's about 2% of everything that Kenmi tracks I've read.
Holy
Wow,
shit.
that's wild.
That's fucking insane. But this dude, you
sees
literally
it.
you walk up like anytime he's not working or doing something, I usually see him with phone in hand reading a manga, reading something.
It's great. It's a great. If
It's
you
fucking
need dopamine,
That's fair.
it's the easiest way to get to.
That is fair. That used to be webcomics for me. I got to get back into reading webcomics. Like
Kenmi tracks webcomic. Are you open?
It does.
To
Yep, it opens in what's it called?
Webtoons.
Yep.
Fuck tapas.
Oh yeah, what's been going on with them?
Oh, they're fine. They run a fine business. I just don't like paying.
That's fair.
Fair.
That's fair. I can understand their business model a little bit more though.
Besides the rampant problematic content, Billy, I think is one of the best monetization models. Webtoons monetization model is also pretty cool.
Yeah.
Chill.
Yeah.
Tapas, you have to pay for everything, every single episode. Well, unless you want to wait 3 hours in between episodes, which I'm not about.
I feel like 3 hours is not that bad,
But I crunch an 80 episode an 80 chapter manhwa in an afternoon.
oh, so literally
So-
I thought you were talking like release. So literally
No.
you can get
I
access
read
to a chapter.
3 hours. Read the next chapter. 3 hours.
Oh,
read the next chapter.
that's some bullshit.
Unless you want to pay, and it's not cheap per chapter. I think if you break down the ink is their currency. I think it's like it's around like 50 cents to $1 per chapter.
Jeez.
So Tapas isn't cheap either,
And you're
and they
talking,
keep
like-
sniping the ones that I really like. But
Dang.
yeah, like Monster Justice and Contract Princess, so good.
Yeah.
Now it's on Tapas and nobody else is updating it anymore.
Damn. Well, that is fair. That is the manga and manhwa block.
Shout out to Azura Scans because I'm pretty sure every single one of the things. I don't think they scan SS. I think you want Reaper Scans is the best place to get that. But I think they're the ones who scanlate, at least where I read the scanlations for
Fair.
all of these manhwas. If you're ever curious about where to find something good to read, go there. Most of their stuff is pretty
We'll have I'll put a link up. Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, if y'all want to see more of that kind of content, let us know. I'm super excited to hear about more of this. And actually, you know what? Whether you let us know or not, we're going to hear more about it. So you just let us know which ones in particular you want us to do deep dives in on. And yeah. So I think I've just crossed the 2-hour mark. Was there anything you wanted to do on this episode before we call it quits? We'll take a quick break.
Not necessarily. I know that I figured that the whole manga talk would take up most of it because we were all interested in hearing what Fluff had for us today. Yeah. So I didn't really plan on talking about anything, but I do know that more than likely a lot of the things that I want to talk about in future episodes are either going to be more of like just the random funny shit that I just see on the day-to-day, or it could be related to just some of the things that, I go through just as being like a nerd / geek in a, kind of relationship with another nerd / geek.
Right.
And just honestly other tech stuff that I just am constantly dealing with on the day-to-day just at my job, like the cool things or interesting things that we share about new emerging tech that's coming out
we have to talk about
and whatnot. So yeah.
All right, then fair enough. Then we will leave you guys with an article I did want to talk about. I actually want to talk about this the last few times that we tried to get the podcast started. It took a minute to finally start doing this episode because when I wanted to start doing it, this guy was sick. By the time he was done being sick,
I was diseased.
He was diseased. He went out of town and I was sick. And then by the time he came back, Thanksgiving was a whole ordeal and all that fun shit. But so to end off, we'll talk about what's very important to me. I know it doesn't look that way. We all got swords. They both got swords up back here. I don't have my sword up right now because it is a hanging sword on a plaque, and it is the Legend of Zelda Master Sword, Darkling Master Sword. So therefore, we're going to end this by talking about the development of a live-action version of The Legend of Zelda. I don't know how I fucking feel about this right now.
Is it?
That's right, because this is going to be The Legend of Zelda. Is this a specific Zelda game?
I don't think much has been said on what the story will be yet.
There's just going to be a live action.
Yeah,
are they going to talk? Are you going to have a silent protagonist?
See, that's the fun question.
Is Illumination animating it just like they did for Mario?
It's live action.
Live action.
Oh, live action.
That's the thing. So
I missed that whole part for a second. I heard
were you reading The Greatest Real Estate Developer?
I heard Legend of Zelda and I was like, oh, okay, just like they did with the Mario movie.
If this,
that's not good at all.
Oh shit, that's great. I mean, there's still, as long as no copper is actually exposed.
You can't see it, but there's bare copper wire.
Yeah, we got we're still getting the studio figured out. Don't you guys worry about that. But yeah, like if they had said this is going to be a 3D adventure and it's done by Illumination, I would have been like, hell yeah, excited for it. Let's go. Well, can't wait to see it. So it starts with it being live action. That is already my first I won't say I'm disappointed in that choice. I'm just going to say that I'm very wary of that choice. Now, I think they do mention who actually does it.
Who the directors are?
Yeah, so that was pretty much the big news of you've got to find out who of everybody's in it.
Because if it ends up like that, I forget what it's called, but the one they did for Halo, was incredible.
Really, I did not know that. I never watched it.
Yeah, it was. That was what originally got me playing Halo. It was so good.
Nice.
I was wondering about that. I remember my fiance, she watched it with her dad, even though they didn't really play a lot of Halo, but I did hear a lot of other people who are more familiar with the series saying that, especially in the first half of that series, that it was pretty good, and then it wasn't as much, but I don't know. I didn't do a lot of research into it or watch the full thing myself. But
I mean, I didn't have any experience with the series, so if there was like inaccuracies or like differences, I wasn't really I didn't clock it. The reason I bring it up is because that also has a silent protagonist, and I don't think Master Chief speaks in that series, and they still did a very good job. They still told a very interesting story, and I would love to see something that can have that similar level of impact while still staying true to the character. Personally, that excites me because I'm excited to see more Zelda content.
Same.
But like you say, yeah, the choice of live action is interesting.
It's always like, it always makes me wonder. So I guess the biggest thing, like,
because Zelda has some crazy stories.
Zelda has some. It has some crazy stories and a lot of potential for telling those stories in a visual medium like film. I guess so. The biggest thing right now is that, and this is actually an official letter from Nintendo, like them announcing to their shareholders. So Shigeru Miyamoto will be a part of the process, which that's always a plus to see. Nintendo is going to be taking, so basically it's going to be a 50-50 or not quite 50-50, like kind of, it's leaning into Nintendo's side. So like, we'll say like 51-49, Nintendo and Sony is funding this thing. So you have two very big corporations with a lot of money funding this, a lot of creative, with majority of creative, of financial responsibility and therefore like creative endeavors going to Nintendo. You have Shigeru Miyamoto, fucking grandpa video games himself, is going to be producing this, and is going to be directed. Now this is someone I don't know super well, but I heard a bit about Wes Ball. I had never really heard of this guy. But and this is the weird bit why I don't do a super deep dive on stuff. He did Maze Runner. So when this initially got announced, I saw this on X, formerly known as Twitter. We're gonna refer to it as Twitter from now on.
Yeah. Well, it's because we're saying.
Yeah.
And we don't have an editor.
Like, yeah.
The artist formerly known as Twitter.
Right. But when people were listing like what he's done, he has been involved with some not great projects, but he's also like, it was really like people were creating this narrative of like, oh, it's going to be terrible because this dude did terrible films. And then I'm glad I kept reading because people were like, yeah, he did do those films. He also did some amazing films.
What are the amazing films he did?
Well, I guess I can't say amazing because I don't know. I don't know films that well.
I honestly don't think the Maze Runner series was terrible.
I didn't watch it, but I didn't watch it because I thought that the marketing was garbage.
I agree with that. Marketing was not that great for it, but I didn't hate the Maze Runner series.
If I remember correctly, I also thought it was inaccurate to the point where somebody who enjoyed the book, at least the original book.
Sorry, it was not him directing. It was one of the studios that they're working with.
Oh, if I remember in particular what it was.
He's working on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Post-production. Holy shit.
I don't care about that.
I don't, but I've heard people are getting excited for it.
I mean, okay, I should not try to dismiss
right.
audience members who think about. I personally am not invested in the Planet of the Apes franchise.
That's fair. I personally don't really care too much about it, but like it is a notable thing he's done. They're working with Avi Arad of Arad Productions, so I'm guessing they're probably going to be the ones actually like doing the sets, all the fun shit. They did Borderlands, really?
Wait.
No way in shit.
Fucking way.
No way in fucking shit.
Chance. There's no chance.
There's no chance they worked on the fucking Across the Spider-Verse, Beyond the Spider-Verse.
What do? They do like post-production? Then do
Arad, Advanced Title Search, Arad.
They had their finger anywhere in or near Spider-Verse. They have my
absolute blessing.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Well, what do they do?
Yeah, let me see. Were they the production? Were they part of the production company? So like we're that's what I'm trying to see because we're on I'm on IMDb right now.
Well, what is their actual maybe their website highlights what they did.
Oh yeah, true.
Because especially if it's like Across the Spider-Verse, they would probably have that highlighted. If
They would have that
anything.
fucking everywhere.
If they did anything remotely
I
like.
Sherm to watch that with me.
Say it again.
I still haven't gotten Sherm to watch that with me.
Oh yeah. Productions. Can we get? Let's try the Wikipedia and see what it says. Okay. Somehow. So whatever we were looking at, that was not the list of their shit. I don't think so. Okay, Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures, Metal Gear Solid.
So they've been involved with video game stuff before. Was Metal Gear Solid good?
Not that I never really heard of. It is that is a series I don't care a lot about. Yes, we get it.
That is the smallest Wikipedia book I've ever seen in my life.
It honestly is, but I think I don't think that was the actual page. I think that was a mention or something.
We should get maybe like an accompanying screen recording for some of this stuff when we're talking.
I super could. I honestly could have just started a screen. I'm gonna go back through this later and put a lot of the stuff up in here. Yeah, so there's gonna be visuals, which is why I wanted to get this so that I can have the next week to record, to edit and do stuff in.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So Art Productions is involved with some video game stuff.
they've done some video game stuff, yeah.
Man, but like Nintendo has money.
Nintendo and Sony have fucking money.
They could
Right.
whatever the fuck they want to.
Okay, what? So they did produce this shit. That wiki page is just fucking out of date. Okay, yeah, people were saying they did. This is the company behind Morbius, which yeah, I get it. It's Morbius.
Morbius 4.
But fuck off! The Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse.
They really have a reverse bell curve.
They really do. Naruto. Oh man, Metalverse, One Punch
that shit
Man,
is
Borderlands,
solid.
Craven. They did.
Okay.
Okay,
There's
yeah.
a Venom 3? There's a Venom 2?
There's a Venom.
Yeah,
2.
there's a Venom 2.
Yeah, they're probably already in post production.
When
They're
did that
probably
come
in
Carnage.
development for Venom 3.
Is Carnage out yet?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that came out
I
like
just
2
didn't
years
see
ago.
Yeah, Venom.
It was alright.
Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and then Venom 3.
Nobody is like super.
They did Ghost in the Shell?
They did Ghost in the Shell.
Well, how's Ghost in the Shell?
I heard it's actually pretty good. A lot of
Same.
people were kind of hung up on the whole having Scarlett Johansson play a Japanese woman, which like
Is my taste.
yeah, I never watched it. I understand like the need to have a big name, but I'm like there really wasn't like any Asian women. But then people are like, oh, but it's full body prosthetics, and so it's like this woman could literally be anything. But it's like her name is fucking Makoto Kusanagi. Like the one element of her that is still the same is like her.
I don't think you
face,
need to create that's the laziest justification I've ever.
Yeah, that's like there's. But what else? I heard it's still pretty good. I remember the anime. I love this anime so fucking much. So I might end up watching it at some point. I just have not gotten around to watching it.
Is that the One Punch Man anime, or is it
It might be
a live action One Punch?
Is there a live action one?
I don't
live
know.
action feature adaptation of the well-known manga One Punch. I have
I've never heard of this. Is this
Justin Lin.
So they've got enough under their belt.
They have enough under their belt that it. Looking at this catalog, yeah, I'll have to look into that later and see what they did.
I don't know if there were producers though, because producers don't have a ton of creative control over.
Well, so the thing is, they're a
I'm
production
actually not gonna
company,
talk about
so
that.
I'm wondering if producing, because like Nintendo, like Shigeru Miyamoto will be the producer on the fucking movie, and then they'll be the production company. So I'm thinking like there's a different meaning of production, not just like the one that we're thinking of. Because like producers really normally like a producer on a project does not have a lot of creative input. They're just making sure they're making sure that there's funding and making sure that money is going to where it needs to fucking go. Generally speaking, and making sure that they're appeasing whoever that money's coming from and making sure that they're gonna turn a fucking profit. That's generally what your producer does. Yeah, your shareholders, your end users, the people you got to get money actually from. That's generally what your producer's doing. And a production company, though, is, I'm assuming, like sets, makeup.
What if we could do this shit without corporate overlords? Imagine how different.
If everything was fucking crowdsourced. That would be kind of cool. And we see what it does. Like when you get who is it? Adam Sandler, I think, gets accused of this a lot. Where a lot of the movies he makes is just because he wants to hang out with his friends. He has the money to just do that.
That makes sense because in most of the movies he makes, that's literally all he's doing.
That's all it is like...
That's the best kind of rich person to be. That
right.
Like, it's just like, oh, I made a lot of money. Well, hey friends. Hey, friendos.
Yeah, hey, friends. Let's just go do shit. And let's put a movie, and then let's get a fucking return on investment on this shit.
Let's hang out and make a plot to our hangout.
Right. But
it's
yeah,
like playing D&D.
Yeah, D&D is also. I want to do D&D content. I do want to do D&D content. Like I want to start recording, and I know I want to do a lot of shit. All of it is not going to work out, but
you're giving me ADHD vibes.
I know. Oh, dude, I am. At this point, I'm certain I have undiagnosed ADHD, and only because my brother had ADHD worse than anybody else in our family. Like, I feel like if I had, at this point, I'm fairly certain I probably have ADHD and probably autism.
Well, I mean, ADHD is on the autistic spectrum.
Really?
I believe. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I learned it from an unofficial source, so don't quote me on it. But
Fair enough.
When I call myself autistic, it's not really a joke.
Fair.
Well, but they also have a lot of the same neurodivergent ways of like expressing themselves. And blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
true. Yeah, I think that's a whole conversation we can get into another time. But yeah, there's like so much I want to do, and D&D being one of those. Like, as I was supposed to get you guys in for the Kids on Brooms and start that up. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with that, but I think the next time I do an actual D&D campaign will probably be March of next year. If maybe earlier, but probably be more like March of next year, because I want to do a homebrewed setting, and I want to do it with. It actually depends if the what is it called? By D&D Shorts, the campaign he created on Kickstarter, which I backed, by the way.
Oh, you backed this stuff? I saw that. I didn't.
Yeah.
I ended up backing it.
I ended up backing it, and I just did all the stuff to.
But it looked like he had some really interesting content. I just never backed it.
Ryojo, Rokido.
I don't fucking know. I just know that he's clever.
He is clever. The whole thing is pretty fucking sick. Ryoko's Guide to the Yokai Realms. I kind of want to do I want to take this and build a setting out of it. Like Dimension 20 style. Like it's the same rules, just different setting. I also want to build like a Pokemon based. And I don't want to, actually I should probably research,
Probably the Pokemon system out there.
There's very many, I'm sure. I want to take a look at them and see if there's any way I can enhance them and create my own.
I really do miss Net Battlers.
Net Battlers.
$3 million? That's crazy.
$3 million, and guess how much the fucking the initial asking price
Probably
was?
like $30K.
$20K. It was like they raised over like 2 million that happened within like $1 million of it happened within the first like 3 hours, and like the 2 million of it happened within like the first week.
That's wild.
Like that shit was funded immediately, at like 1,000 fucking %.
That's what they say though. You want to pick a target you know your community can hit, so that when they exceed that, the media picks it up.
Right, and D&D Shorts himself already is not a small channel. Like he is a big D&D content channel. If you don't watch him, I think you should. I think you watch him.
Oh, I absolutely watch him.
Okay, I think you'd really like his content too. He's very like, actually, fuck it. Shout out to D&D Shorts. We're going to play some of your content.
We're gonna raid.
We're gonna raid. We're gonna send our raid over. Type with hashtag raid message. Here, I never really did a lot of raids when I was streaming. I should have did more. I gotta watch this video. Though this is something I wanted to talk about actually. Did you know there was a D&D channel?
Oh, okay.
Gotta pause that for a sec. Like, did you know there was supposed to be a D&D, like Wizards of the Coast D&D channel?
Like TV?
Yes. Like TV shows, like a whole network set up. for you to watch like all their shit on.
What happened to it?
No one knows.
I would have been there. I would have been square.
Like,
Yeah.
so
they just failed to produce interesting. Like,
no. Well, no one knows what happened because it looks like they produced interesting content. They failed to give anyone a place to actually watch it because none of the links they have up take you to where you can fucking watch it. You can't find it anywhere.
I wonder if it got cut when they got sold.
So that's the real confusing bit. What's the best way that's going to be to do this? Actually, you know what? We'll talk about this on the next recording because I need you guys to watch this first, and then and it's like an 11-minute long video. I need you guys to watch this first, and then so we'll talk about this
Next time on Kingz After Dark.
But yeah, like that's a whole wild ass thing. That there was this whole channel that did launch, except no one can access it and no one knows how to. Like
Strange.
To the point that like there was Reddit posts about it, and like not even a lot of Reddit posts. Like there's the few Reddit posts about it is like, yo, where can we watch this shit? One of the actors who works on some of the shows was like, you can watch it here, and everybody was like, no, you can't. He was like, yeah, you can, and everybody was like, no, you fucking can't. And he was like, oh, I guess I'll have to talk to like one of the people in charge and we'll see what's going on. Sorry, guys.
I guess this just above my pay.
This is above my pay grade because we were told that it's available in the US and Canada on these channels, and they're not. And no one knows what the fuck is going on with that. So stay tuned for the next episode on that. But yeah, Zelda live action.
Also, next episode, sounds of me peeing.
It's just fucking
Back to the
20
ASMR.
minutes of ASMR.
I'm telling you. It's gonna make us.
If we turn into a fucking ASMR channel, I swear to God, I'm gonna kill you.
You heard
That
it here
can be
first,
your
folks.
side project, Kenton.
That can be. Hey, you want to start up a channel for ASMR? Go for it. I'm all here for it. That's what this
You can be my
podcast is.
ASMR
That's-
boyfriend.
Those are what my segments are going to be. ASMR with Formz. Welcome to today's ASMR segments.
I hate everything about this. I fucking hate everything about this. Fuck.
How do you make your skin sound so slippery?
That's called washing your hands and then not moisturizing afterwards, and it just creates super dry and ashy skin.
Just for you guys.
Fuck. But yeah, Legend of Zelda live action movie. I'm not sure how I feel about it right now. Looking through, I'll need to do a bit more like looking into Arad and what they really did with the movies. But if they had a heavy hand in the production of these movies in this catalog, I just got a little excited.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the way I think about it,
Now,
it's like if you have a company that's throwing a crap ton of money at something like this project, and if it's a live action, a lot of times, even though you always have your skepticism and doubts, I feel that there is more potential for it to be, especially if the company behind it is like one of the original creators or like, you know, like people who help that, you know, series or franchise be what it is. I feel that there is way more of a chance for that to be a success.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Well,
We
video
saw
games
that.
are-
Oh, go ahead.
Video games are always such a challenge to adapt because you're taking an interactive experience and adapting it to something that is fundamentally not interactive.
Right.
And figuring out what the essence of that experience is that you want to convey is difficult. It requires people that are experienced with the medium. It requires people that are talented in their craft. It requires, and they on levels, good writers, good actors, good directors, all the way down. It is really rare. I think people are starting to figure out how to do it because we saw D&D was pretty successful.
Yeah. Well, and I would argue historically the reason video game adaptation. So video game adaptations, like movie adaptations, have always had a very bad rep, mostly because of Uwe Boll mostly. He would basically make video game movie adaptations as tax write-offs. So he was just using like a tax loophole in like whatever fucking country he comes from. And a lot of video game adaptations, like he mentioned, were made by basically they just bought the license and then they use it as a cash grab. So you would get the license from a company, from the whoever like actually owned the IP, and then that company would have nothing to do with the production of the movie. It would have nothing to do with like creative decision making, writing, the script, how it chooses people. And I think modern day we're seeing those production like the actual IP holders are involved in the actual movie process now.
And because they're involved, there's way more, force behind okay, we need these writers, like you were saying, Fluff, on this because they know how to do this IP.
Right.
We need these producers because they know how to do this IP. Like they're making those active decisions based on that IP because of the past of that IP.
Right. And if there's any company that is not going to let you fuck up their IP, Nintendo's the one. Nintendo is not. Nintendo let that happen once with the Super Mario movie, and they were
the
like
live action
the
Super
live,
Mario.
the fucking what was it, 88, 1988 or some shit.
No, I think there's twice.
Was it
Was there a
twice?
second one?
Dinner. I think you're forgetting the Zelda. Oh, you're talking purely about.
No, we're talking
live
purely live action
yeah,
movies.
I was also referring to somebody else fucking up their IP, but video game.
You mean CDI?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that same deal though.
Yeah.
Of like once and never fucking again. And Nintendo has always been like that of like we'll try this once. And so specifically about like the Mario live action movie was like we'll try this once. Well, we'll try this. They fucked it up and Shigeru Miyamoto and Nintendo was like never again. So here we are 35 fucking years later, however many years later, and the fact that the Mario movie did pretty fucking well.
Mario movie was great.
That was a great movie. That was a fun movie. Like it wasn't like a cinematic masterpiece or anything. Like it's not like if I had to put it up against like Into the Spider-Verse and the Mario movie against Into the Spider-Verse, I would pick Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah.
Every fucking time. Like that one deserves awards. I don't think the Mario movie deserves any rewards, but it deserves a lot of praise.
Yeah.
It was a very fun movie because that's what it needed to be. It's such a good movie.
We're pretty much breaking that mold.
Right.
Kind of, where it's like, can a video game movie be good?
Can it be fucking good? Like
Even if it isn't live action, animation, whatever, can it just be good? Can it be enjoyable? Can we sit and watch it and not hate that we watched it?
Right. Can you get me in this world and not have to adapt it into something beyond what that world is? Because you can argue that the Sonic movie was technically did it first. And I think even then Detective Pikachu technically did it first. Both of those were really good movies based on video game characters, but I wouldn't call those. I mean, they're video game movies in a very technical way. Like Detective Pikachu obviously was a video game first, adapted into a movie, but the storytelling of that was not like the Pokemon universe, the one that we're used to from the video games.
I think they definitely played it safe in that regard, where it's like you couldn't tell a full, they didn't feel like they could fully tell that full Pokemon world story in live action. Same way as Sonic, you couldn't do that in Sonic's world.
You had to adapt the story somehow and create a movie around the character. Whereas with Mario, you adapted Mario 1 into not necessarily Mario 1, but you adapted like a Mario adventure into an actual movie. Mm-hmm. And you actually got a video game movie out of this. Yeah. Go for it.
I was just going to add a little. You gave them characters characterization, but they didn't still like divert from their core like characteristics or the projected characteristics of the player. You managed to tell an interesting story within the parameters of the world that have been established. Mm-hmm. It was very well done.
It was very well done. Mm-hmm. And so, like taking that, like
adults enjoyed it, kids enjoyed it. Yeah,
everybody enjoyed it. We sung Peaches for a fucking year. Oh my god! Like we love that song. Jack Black was such a great choice for Bowser in that movie.
It still blows my mind how the day they announced the voice casting for that movie, everybody was on the floor, like laughing, like, why did they do this? Why would they do this? Of course, we know why actually they would do this because they're they're stars,
popular stars.
But like, why though?
But it was like you saw Chris Pratt, everybody was like, no,
not again.
You saw Anya Jo Taylor, whatever the fuck her name is, who was Peach. You're like, who the fuck is she? You saw Jack. Everybody was like, no. Okay, we get Jack Black. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. That was
no. Seth Rogen is fucking Donkey Kong.
Nobody really liked that, honestly.
No one liked any of the cast choicing except Jack Black as Bowser. That was like the one casting choice that no one questioned.
Yeah,
everybody was like, They're casting Jack Black as Bowser was as natural as it would have been if they casted Danny DeVito as Pikachu in the Detective Pikachu movie. Like now, granted, I say that Ryan Reynolds did a great job as Detective Pikachu. You should. It's actually a lot of. It depends on how much you care about the movies. Neither do I, honestly. The reason I watched it because it was Pokemon related.
Yeah.
It depends on how much you care about Pokemon. Actually, even if you don't care about Pokemon, it's a pretty good it's not a murder mystery, but it is a mystery. It's like it's as close to a murder mystery as the Pokemon company would allow it to get. There's no actual murder, but it is actually kind of gritty. It's kind of a noir almost.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good. Like at some point, I think we'll probably sit down and watch it. I think you'll actually really enjoy it. But yeah, like Nintendo being involved with majority financial stake, as well as like Shigeru Miyamoto being on the production team, producing team, and having creative direction and all of that. I gotta say, just looking at Around Productions, I don't know a lot about Wes, the director. I need to look more into who he is and what he's done. Wes Ball. But honestly, at this point, I'm leaning more into being excited for this. I'm not the biggest fan of live action as an adaptation. Like I think I talked about it with one of you, if not both of you, at some point.
It was probably with
actually I think it was you and your fiance.
Yeah.
I want to say we were sitting down talking. I was like, I've always been the type of person where I never understood the need for a live action adaptation of something. Like I much more prefer like I just prefer animation over live action in most cases anyway. Not that I don't like live action. I fucking love me some live action.
I just won't watch animated movies on principle.
And then there's that. So this might have been with you.
Confuses me.
It might have been honestly, it might have been all four of us.
No, I don't think I was there. I learned that about my uncle on Thanksgiving when we were doing trivia.
Oh, okay. It's funny because you brought up a point that I want to say Sparkles brought up. We'll refer to her as Sparkles for now because that's her handle on. So I don't keep like slipping up and saying her name. She brought up that exact same point of like some people just refuse to watch an animated movie. They don't want to watch animation, and it's like that. I understand.
I don't. It doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense, no. But I understand that there's people that don't like animation. But I never understood it from people that do like animation. And how much like those people really want a live action adaptation of whatever their favorite thing is.
In Disney, I get it because they're dumb.
And that's where this conversation started, actually.
In Disney is a full-on cash grab and a hope that you're going to the theater because of nostalgia.
Literally because of nostalgia.
Like they're banking on your nostalgia and hoping that you're coming to the theater and shoveling out your money to their movies because you want to relive that
well,
memory.
It's the same reason that I'll buy all the Critical Role comics. It's
fair.
Because it's very influential media to me. I care all about it. I've not read a single one of them, but I will buy all of them.
I mean, in fairness, I'm going to go see this fucking movie. Good, bad, or worse, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go see the Legend of Zelda movie.
Yeah.
Because it's Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Because that is my thing, right?
And I think this could have also come up because we were talking about the live action One Piece that released and came out.
That's right. I think that is where it started.
I heard that one was not bad.
It's actually really good. It's not 1-to-1, obviously, because the original One Piece is
because those maps are just too big.
But it's like
Those bodies are too skinny and them baps are too big.
Yep, all the characters are just like too
Yeah.
rounded, and Oda's, Ichiro
It gets
Oda's
more
designs
deranged
are
as it
crazy.
goes on.
It really does.
It's weird, but at the same time, that's the charm of One Piece, and everybody was wondering how is that going to be captured in live action? It's impossible.
By not trying to do it one-to-one.
By not trying to do it one-to-one, they had to make story changes, of course, to try to condense it down. But the whole reason, I think, why it worked so well was because of who was behind the whole entire operation. Oda, the original creator, was overseeing everything and made sure that if stuff needed to be reshot, if he didn't like it, he said no, and he forced them to reshoot it. Mm-hmm. He oversaw everything, and because One Piece is One Piece, it's like one of the number one mangas in the world, he has that money to be able to put in to this production. And Netflix, being Netflix, also had the money to also put in...
To just funnel in.
Yes. So it's like, I think it was in the top shows that had the biggest budget, and it worked. Somehow it worked. It reached the people who don't like animation.
Yep.
And it got a lot of them to get into the
Really?
One Piece the One
Holy
Piece
shit.
manga and anime because of how much they liked it. So I think that there's a combination of that mixed with kind of like the Nintendo Mario movie that released, kind of going into it, where we have the original creators, or at least, the company and the big honchos behind this, kind of coming together, putting forth the resources to do some kind of live action adaptation that, they don't want their IP to be fucked up and misused. Right. And they have the money to do something like this, but I think they also have that ground to be able to, pave the way for a pretty good result here. So I too am excited for this, at least to see this information, who's behind it.
Right.
And, I don't know, I'm optimistic about it right now.
Yeah.
Especially because of everything that's been happening recently within this whole live action bubble.
100% agree.
All right, boys. It's my bedtime.
Yep. I think that is what we're going to call it for tonight.
Yeah.
Episode 1 completed.
Let's go.
We get ready to see a lot of us. Because I refuse to let this be yet another idea that we start and just don't go anywhere with.
Yeah.
If come hell or high fucking water, I don't care. I want to get us to that 5-month mark, and then I want to get us to the year mark. I will, even if we don't continue the podcast after that, if we make it to a year, not even concerned about subscriber count or anything like that, I just want us to be able to do this consistently and be able to get here next year and say we did it for a year. Mm-hmm. So, with that, we'll see you guys later.
Yes.
Get ready to see a lot more of us.
Kingz After Dark.
Kingz After Dark podcast. Find us in our social medias, and we'll see you guys next week.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah.